Okay, Roger, this is a four-stroke engine here. It's actually off a snowblower. I'll remove the cylinder head, give you an idea what the internals look like, okay? The spark plug is still installed. Now, all engines have pistons and crankshafts, okay? The piston goes up and down, and when it does, it turns the crankshaft, okay? And the crankshaft is what powers the machine. In this case, a snowblower, okay? Now you need four processes for this engine to run. You need intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust, okay? And I'll walk you through how that works. Now, these are the valves. This is the intake valve, and that's the exhaust valve. So what happens is when the piston starts to go down, the intake valve opens, it brings in a fuel and air mixture into the cylinder, okay?
So that's stroke one.
That's stroke one. Then the piston comes back up to compress the fuel and air mixture.
Stroke two.
That's stroke two. When you get to the top, the spark plug fires the fuel and air mixture, which causes the piston to go back down, which is the power stroke.
Stroke three.
Stroke three. And then at the bottom of that, the exhaust valve opens, the piston comes back up and pushes all the burnt gases out through that port into the muffler and outside.
Stroke four and ready to go again.
Stroke four and ready to go.
Because that happens pretty quickly because we actually can get 3,600 revolutions per minute on this crank.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's important to keep this engine full of oil all the time.
Let's take a look at a two-stroke.
Okay, as you can see, this engine is much smaller, but it does perform the same function as a four-stroke engine. It has intake, compression, combustion, and exhaust, but it only does it in two strokes.
Well, you cut away part of the cylinder here so we can see that piston. Now, as it starts on its way down in the first stroke,
it intakes fuel and air and expels exhaust.
And now start the second stroke going up.
It compresses the fuel and fires it.
Yeah, and when this fires, this really turns over. That crankshaft gets going pretty good.
Right, they turn up pretty high. A four-stroke engine maxes out at about 3,600 RPM, but a two-stroke will go as high as 12 or 13,000 RPM.
There's no crankcase here to hold oil to lubricate the engine.
That's right, because a two-stroke engine is lubricated by adding oil to the fuel. And the proper way to do that is you take the oil mix and you add it to 1 gallon of gas. Okay, in this case, this is a 50-to-1 mix. So that would give you the exact mix for this engine.
Every gas engine requires maintenance, and Paul, with your help with the maintenance on this mower, it's run for 20 years.
Wow, has it been 20 years already?
I'm afraid so.
Let's check the maintenance on this machine, okay? We'll start with the spark plug. All right, spark plugs are always good to change at least once a season, or if the mower's giving you a little trouble running rough, you want to change that.
Now, the other tip is to leave that spark plug disconnected when you're working on the mower. There's no way it could ever start.
It's a good safety tip. Now we'll look at the air filter, okay? This particular machine uses a paper element with a foam wrap. And the foam wrap's made to keep the heavy dirt out. And you need to keep the dirt out of the engine because that's what makes it run as long as it does, 20 years. Okay, and you'll see the filter's light in color. When it gets dirty, it's going to be really dark.
This is dirty.
That's
this needs to be changed because that's what it should look like.
That's correct. Okay. Then, when you check your oil, you should always check your oil before you use the machine. You want to check the level and you want to check the condition of the oil at the same time. And this oil is pretty dirty.
Yeah, considering this is what new oil looks like, and this is what the oil is like in that machine. And that could lead to a problem with the engine.
It sure could.
Now, some machines you take and physically tip on its side, and the oil comes out where the oil originally went in.
That's right.
The others have a plug on the side, and you can connect a hose to it and let that oil run into a pan and then recycle the oil.
Always recycle. Let's talk a little bit about fuel.
What do we need to know?
Okay, these days you don't want to stockpile much more fuel than you'll need in the course of a month, okay, because the shelf life of gas is pretty short these days, 4 to 6 weeks tops.
So go with a 1 gallon container instead of like the large one.
That's right. And most manufacturers recommend these days to use a high-octane fuel because it helps burn properly and it makes the machine actually run better.
Yeah, we just upgraded to high octane and everything seems to be running great.
There you go. Another thing is today's fuel contains ethanol, which is a water-based fuel, okay, and it'll also attract water over time, which will accumulate in the bottom of your gas can or in your tank of your machine, and they don't run on water.
Not very well, huh?
We have to treat them.
Now, we've been using this pink stabilizer for years. It helps us get, maybe 2 months out of a can of gas.
Yeah, the pink stabilizer is good to keep fuel from going stale, but it doesn't address the ethanol problem. The blue stabilizer does, okay? This will stabilize fuel to keep it from going bad, and it also addresses the water problem created by the ethanol. It allows the machine to burn off the water created by ethanol by mixing with it.